the printout from the PowerPoint, in which I just did it as 3 slides. If you would like to receive this PowerPoint, you can call or email me. My email is actually mdaniels, MDANIELS, at FAAST, FAAST.org. Or if you just don't want to write that down, you can always stop by and get, and there's also on there, it's FAAST at FAAST.org.
Well, it's the website is on there, but the headquarters address, which our location, the number there is the 850-487-3278.
Yeah, you can call us and get, because I know sometimes we try to make all of our presentations available in case people want to reuse them. Looks like we got some soccer players in here. So I'll let you guys sit down. My name is Michael Daniels, and if you have problems understanding anything I say, you will not offend me at all if you ask me to repeat it, because what you hear is a really, really thick Kentucky accent. Is because I am from the same place in Kentucky Loretta Lynn's from. And so it's really, I can always tell people, if you've ever seen the movie Coal Miner's Daughter, which you guys probably have never seen the movie Coal Miner's Daughters, and I understand that. That's my hometown in Kentucky. And so I went to the University of Kentucky. I have a master's degree in assistive technology. And one of the main reasons why I went to the University of Kentucky, and I see the Kansas shirt here, is I needed basketball tickets. Because the one thing about Kentucky is, you know, we're like the basketball program in the nation. And if whatever you hear about our fan base is absolutely true, is we are fanatical. A little bit about FAAST before we get started. We are the assistive technology program for the state of Florida. And if you want to know what assistive technology is, the definition that I always told my mother was basically assistive technology is technology that helps people get a job done. We use assistive technology every day in our lives, more and more now because of this thing here. However, driving, automobile is actually assistive technology, because the natural ambulation would be actually walking. However, to get to a place faster, you would actually use a car. And so in the truest definition, a car is a piece of assistive technology. We have 6 regional demonstration centers across Florida. And going from west to east, we have a center in Pensacola. We have a center in Tallahassee, Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, Orlando, Tampa at Tampa General. It's at the rehab center here, and actually our regional coordinator that operates that center is at our table. And so if you would like to speak with her, her name is Nancy Mashberg, and she is here today. And also in South Florida at the Mailman Center at UM, or as they like to call down there, and again, to be cool, the U. So, well, I'll go ahead and get started. I'm not going to go off a lot on the PowerPoint. I want this to be a little bit interactive. And so what I'm going to show you today is a basic iPad 3. It's a 3-air, and in fact, I just got this. This right here is the one that has the most memory in it. And the reason why I wanted the most memory is I wanted to put almost all of our apps on there. And I'll probably be speaking about apps in like different categories. And I used to do this presentation about assistive technology and some of this stuff with a laptop. And just recently, all of the software, a vast majority of the software has been transformed into apps now. And so that is a really cool thing for us. The really cool thing about apps and the iPad is when it comes to communication devices. Is basically a communication device if you have no speech. And you need a communication device. Before this came around, you'd have to go to a speech language pathologist, get a evaluation, submit that evaluation to a funding source like Medicare, Medicaid, or third-party insurance, and then you would get a specialized computer and a hardened case and the insurance would have to pay about $7,000 for it. However, nowadays, you can get a iPad or a Droid anywhere between $300 and $600, and the same software that they're on those $7,000 machines for the maximum, the most expensive app, communication app on the market is $299. And so it has drastically reduced the cost for certain communication. The bad thing about that, Medicare, Medicaid, third-party insurances would still rather pay $7,000 as opposed to $1,100 for an iPad, the software, and I'll say $1,100 because you'd also want a hardened case. And so that's one of the things that why, and some of the best cases out there are anywhere in the neighborhood of $250 to $300, and those are actually the cases that have a built-in Bluetooth. Everything I'm going to show you today, if you would like to see, we have it in our device loan program. FAAST operates a device loan program, and that you can actually see the apps that we have available. We go through a lot of apps in a month because my son is trying out for travel soccer today, and so let me just turn that on silent. I apologize. I am a Archer fan, and so you know, that is one of the that's my son texting me. So sorry about that. A little bit threw me off there. We have iPads in our device loan program. And so what we are doing on our website, we're in the process of actually redoing our website, and we're not putting iPads on there, but we're putting the apps on there that we have available. Right now, one of the things when it comes to handheld apps is it is like the Wild West. And a lot of people will talk to me about apps. What's my favorite app? What's, you know, and then I will tell them, and they'll ask how much it costs. And the person always comes back with, well, I have an app that can do that, and it's free. And so I'm going to show you some differences between that. And I'm actually going to, the first app I show you will be one of the free apps, and I'll show you what happened to me when I was first showing this app off and it didn't work. And I'll explain why a free app didn't work. And so, does anybody have any questions about FAAST right now before we get started? One of the things that I also have here, and I may be going off screen.
I'm not sure what with the PowerPoint.
I'm
not sure where you want me to be with the PowerPoint.
Oh, you're fine. Most of the stuff is you'll be able to hear through a Bluetooth speaker. And one of the things that I found is when you don't have a speaker for an iPad and you're using text-to-speech, everybody wants to huddle around the iPad. And so what I'm going to do is just lay this here. This right here is nothing special. It's a $50 Bluetooth speaker, and I purchased it at Best Buy 3 weeks ago. And one of the things that's really nice about it is I was at a conference last week with a lot of wheelchairs and walkers. It's actually a clip. And so we were actually able to clip this on a wheelchair or a walker. And then, if you have like a lap tray, a person could have it on there, and then it's projecting out their voice there. And so that worked out very well.
Are those speakers, can people get them through the loan program?
Yes, we are in the process of purchasing some of these. What we're doing with none of our iPads will be going out just like this, because one of the best practice dictates every iPad we send out, we have to have a case. What we've done is we bought about 50 cases with built-in Bluetooth speakers.
Okay.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to see if CDW, it's a computer discount warehouse, and they have a state of Florida contract. And instead of buying these for about $50, we might be able to get these for about $35 a piece using the state contract purchasing power. The other nice thing about this, and Tim works at FAAST, he's our office manager, and when I do this, he's going to go, oh. However, last week, this happened like 2 or 3 times, is people, I would be handing it to people and it would fall and stuff like that. And so I wanted to drop it just to show you, because one of the things that if that broke it, we don't want it in our loan program, because that's something that this stuff has to be durable for people to use out on the market. Any questions so far?
What was the name of that CDW?
CDW, it's cdw.com,
Uh-huh.
and the CDW stands for Computer Discount Warehouse.
Okay.
If you do have the state of Florida purchasing power,
Are they a vendor?
they are a vendor, yes,
Okay.
and they do have very, very good discounts. We actually, the last time we purchased iPads, we purchased all of them from there instead of Apple.
Do you have to buy them in bulk or something?
No, you can buy them individually. In fact, we bought a couple of laptops from them, and so it's a really, really good vendor.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think they have a person dedicated to Florida.
Yeah.
So the first thing I'm going to show off is how many people have heard of voice recognition software? How many people have used voice recognition software in the past? It is difficult to use, isn't it? One of the things that when I got into the field is that was one of my specialties, is voice recognition software, because back from 95 to 2005, a lot of people were wanting voice recognition software. And it's actually pretty good. However, it takes a lot of work. One of the reasons why is you have to go in and you have to train your voice. The other thing that people don't realize about your voice is your voice fluctuates throughout the day. The best time you have a voice is in the morning. And the other thing is every time you take a drink of anything, your voice refreshes. And I will show you that right now, but I don't know if I sound any different or not. However, how I used to do training is I would have people, depending on how much they would use voice recognition, I would have them do about 5 voice files. And the reason why is because your voice fluctuates so much throughout the day that you would need that. You would need a morning one in the afternoon, one at night, at least 3, sometimes 5. And the other thing, what I did is I had a person we were working with up in Marianna, Florida. Her computer was facing the wall in which her mother did laundry, and every day she did laundry at about 3 to 5, and between 3 and 5 she couldn't use Dragon at all, and so she was really upset. One of the things that we did was the voice file while her mom actually had the washing machine and the dryer going. And so we actually had that in the background noise. But I want to show you just how good this right here is Dragon Dictate. That's what the app is called. And I do apologize. I actually left my HDMI cable at home where I could project it. However, this right here is one of the free apps. However, and you guys were going to find this funny, is I was in front of a bunch of teenagers showing this app off for the first time, and I didn't have internet access. This app is free, however, it requires internet access. And that's one of the things is I want you guys to know, is if you do have a free app, probably 80% of the time you may need to have internet access. And the reason why is sometimes those free apps actually run at the bottom advertisements. And so they need always an advertisement to be refreshing. This one here, actually, the voice file for it, or the voice engine, is actually on the internet. So it's actually bouncing off the server at Dragon. And so it doesn't have all the voice, it doesn't have what's called the voice engine on here. And so it's actually back on a server someplace else. And so I'm going to bring this up and I'm going to show it to you. It's Dragon Dictate, and that's the app. I'm going to show it to you, then I'm going to call on a volunteer that has an Indiana shirt on, probably. Does anybody here have an Indiana shirt on? Does anybody have an Indiana shirt on? Oh, okay. And then we're going to use the same voice file and see how it dictates, and then just to show you this. So I'm going to do the standard line, you know, when I bring it up, hello, comma, my name is Michael, period. Just bring it up. Oh, and it says I've already lost the internet connection for you in here. So let me go into settings real fast. Thank God we're doing this in real time. Guest. And I'm connected now, and that's, oh, don't tell me I have to log back in. I'm glad I did this one first. Oh, I did it again. Here, let's see if it's going to work. Then we'll go on to something else. Oh. But there's a good example, and I'm glad I did it again. For some reason, it's kicking me off. Another kind of app that we use is text-to-speech. And y'all know what text-to-speech apps are? They're basically what it says is it takes the text as you type it, and it gives you speech output. There are a ton of free text-to-speech apps on the internet or on iTunes or Google Play. And I'm going to show you a couple that aren't text-to-speech. I mean, they aren't free. However, I'm going to show you the main difference between the free ones. Is this right here is called CoWriter. Has anyone heard of CoWriter before? This right here is actually one of the bedrock softwares in assistive technology. It's been around for like 15 years. It's a word prediction program. Y'all know what word prediction is? Everybody does now. It's basically on your phone. It's when it's trying to guess the words that you're typing. However, one of the things, there's two things that word prediction is really good for. One is to reduce keystrokes. Is as you're typing, is you don't have to type as many letters. That actually slows you down because you actually have to read. It doesn't increase the input. The second is when it tries to guess, it actually people are able to compose sentences a little bit easier because they're, the next word is there. So I am going to say I am glad to be here today. And so I type in I, and then up here at the top, it's trying to guess. And I say I. And then there it has the text. It has the text to speech. Am, and you see here, and I'm going to step off the screen a little bit just to show people. Is am is right there in the middle. What this does is because it's a little bit different than the computer version. Is because on handheld apps, everybody's center of focus or your optical focus goes to the middle. And so that's why instead of going linear left to right, it tries the word that it thinks that you're going to type is in the middle. And so am, glad is not up there, so I'll go G. Let me go back. Glad, G, is L's not there. Glad, and glad's right there in the middle, so glad. To, not there, T. B. Here. Today. Now here's a really cool thing about that is it can read you as you go, and also when you hit punctuation, I am glad to be here today. It actually reads the sentence afterwards. Now one of the things is that this one actually doesn't do the highlighting, as I said. However, you can turn it on and off. You also notice something different about the iPad or the keyboard that I'm using? Yeah, it's color. This right here is another app that we use. It's called the Kibler keyboard. Actually, it's not in there. This right here is a $5.99 keyboard. And what is different about this keyboard here? See if you can tell me some of the main differences on this keyboard. You should be able to tell me something. What color is your shirt? Yeah, the vowels are in red. And so that right there is actually an encoding. Also the color. What's the color? Yellow on blue. The research has indicated yellow on blue and blue on yellow are the most contrasting colors for a person with a visual impairment. If you go to our booth, we have some video magnifiers, and you'll notice some of the modes on there are yellow on red, or I'm sorry, yellow on blue and blue on yellow. And so that right there is actually a visual cue. There's about 7 different keyboards. Also, how many people have seen like the ABC keyboards? In case a person, where the QWERTY key, this is a QWERTY keyboard. but the ABC just has the ABC layout on it. They also have those available because some people may need that as well, especially, you know, when they know their alphabet. Because how many people have seen this? The hover,
Yeah.
and so sometimes when you to combat that, right there is where you can use the ABC keyboard or a different style of keyboard, and so those are available. The next app I'm going to show you is the communication app. Is, as I said before, this right here is for a person that doesn't have a speech. This right here is actually a pictorial representation app. This right here, these kinds of software, this right here is called Pro Loco to Go. It's by Assistiveware, and it's $299. However, if you wanted to buy a communication app or communication device with this software on it, it would be about $7,000.
I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, and so this is just amazing. And so it uses what we call, and again, I'm going to step off the screen just to show people here. It uses the #1 picture symbol base. It's called Mary Johnson Pictures. And then I'll say I. And actually, it's not going through there, so I've lost the connection. And then you can see here, there's little boxes around this. And then there's also ones with little tabs around it. Now, the ones with tabs around it is it'll jump to another screen with other choices. And so, I'm sorry, I'll come right back. I just want to come up here because they are streaming, and you can always stop by our booth. And what I'm going to do is I am going to go to the people, and where you can, when I click on people, you see how it changed, and you can actually put people on here. The really nice thing about this is right now you see that there are picture-based symbols on here. Now, some people might need actual pictures of the person. Like, you know, if you're dad and you wanted your picture on there, it's really easy because this right here has a built-in camera. So all you have to do is go take a picture of you, take a selfie or anything, and then when you select the picture, it actually asks you to choose from the picture library, or you can choose from your photos. And so that's a really powerful thing. A lot of speech language pathologists don't like that because they want to build it literacy. However, my big thing is I want people to communicate. And so I think sometimes you need that iconic representation is what it's called.
It does cost a few dollars, but it's one of the best programmable speech type language things that I've ever seen.
Pro Loco to Go.
Can you say that again slower?
Pro, let me spell it. Pro, P-R-O, Loco, L-O-Q-U-O, the number 2, G-O.
Thank you.
Very, very programmable, very user friendly, very, you got all the whistles and bells
Yep.
on that program.
$299, but it does cost. Yeah, it is cheaper. The other thing that I did mention something that insurance doesn't pay for this. Insurance, that's not entirely, but we actually have a communication device that is I call it an iPad on steroids. We have it at our table now. It's called the Pro Slate. Florida Medicaid actually purchases the Pro Slate because it's actually an iPad, but when you go by there, you can see it. It is actually a communication device on steroids because they have built it up.
I have a kid that has his own iPad.
Mm-hmm.
With a Bluetooth thing, shields it.
Uh-huh.
Any of these programs he can get downloaded into his equipment through the Medicaid system?
Now no, not right now, and that's a fight that we need to fight. Well, that.
Would be really good.
Yeah, I wouldn't say a fight, but that's something we need to advocate for because it is a cost saving to taxpayers. And I mean, I'm a little bit left leaning. However, I understand the political climate as it is, and I think this is absolutely fantastic. Now, this isn't for everybody that needs communication, and we still need those $7,000 devices for some people. However, for a lot of people, this right here would probably be the best thing. But there is a version, a trial version that you can download that is free on this. I think it works about 30 days. However, if you do want to see it, and we can actually put it on an iPad in our device loan program and send it to a person to use. But we can't put it on there because, because of licensing. We have to use our own license and install it. But everything I'm showing you today is actually, we can put on an iPad and send you. We can put on an iPad, an iTouch. That's about it. Next thing I want to show you, and this right here is something that is really, really special to my heart, is this right here is probably, I have an employee that works for me that has a brain injury, and one of the things that when she started working for us, she needed a pictorial schedule because she was always forgetting things. And I was going to, oh, I have it on another thing. However, this right here is a pictorial schedule. Let me just go to the month here. And what makes this really important is, well, you see how it's divided up here right now. It's divided up into morning activities, afternoon, and evening. And so let me go here and just put something for, I'll put lunchtime at noon, okay? And so go to edit. You go first, add your title, and I'm just going to call it lunch. And again, no matter how you do this, look how the keyboard changes. And so this right here is a really nice function. This right here again is the keyboard is a $5.99 app. The other thing that you'll notice on this keyboard, you notice what's on top, and I'm going to step off a little bit. Actually, I'm going to go to you first because I can't wait. You notice what's on top of that keyboard? Word prediction.
Word prediction, right.
Yeah, actually, this keyboard for $5.99, you get a word prediction and an alternate keyboard with that. That's not a bad deal, is it? That's not a bad deal at all.
Sorry, what was the name of the app?
It is Keebler. It's Keebler. Let me go back.
What's the name of the calendar app?
I'll get that. Let me go back to the keyboard. I got to turn it over here because I have them. Keyboard. Keeble. Keyboard. Keeble. And for our friends from Indiana, no, I'm not. I'm just kidding. Do you notice my background if you're basketball fans?
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, the app. Visual Planner. Visual Planner, $19.99. Let me go in here and let's just put lunch in here because this right here probably be the last thing I do before we take some questions. I'm going to go in there and put lunch. Oops. And then I'm going to go time. And then this right here also works. I'm going to show this off. It works just like your time works on an iPad with the scroll. And so I'm going to put today at 12 o'clock. Repeat event, you can put day, week, every 2 days. And so I'm just going to put for today. Now all you have to do is click the days that you want to remove. Do you want to set a reminder? And you're actually an auditory reminder. Just click that and you actually have 3 different auditory reminders. That's 1. That's 2. And that's 3. Now the other thing, again, this right here is an iPad. You're actually able to record anything that you would want it to be. Like if you wanted to say, ATM, lunchtime, you can do that. Add a photo. And this right here shows you, and I'll see if you see it, custom photo or icon library. Again, like if you're going to McDonald's this day, if you want to take a picture of McDonald's, you can have that in there. However, let's just choose one from the icon library. Let's see if there's food. Eat. I'm going to choose the first food one I see. Flamingo. Grilled flamingo is really good. fried chicken. I'm gonna put fried chicken on there. Whoops. No. And then that's about it. So I just want to save it. And whoops, what's it doing now? Again, I love technology presentations because this right here is the second thing. So it's hung up a little bit, so I just want to stop it. Push it up. There we go. And then see if it's on there. Visual planner. And there it is. And you can see it there. Now, the other really cool thing about this, you'll see how it puts it in there. And again, I'm going to step off the camera a little bit. The other thing that you'll notice is there's a chat box right next to it. So when you actually do the activity, you're actually able to just push that, and it puts that it's already been completed, or a check on there.
Now, is that one dependent on the internet to function?
No, this one's not. Yeah, this one's not. This right here is $19.99. It's called Visual Planner. It actually is one. It actually is in your handout. And so the other thing that makes this, the other thing that is really nice, I'm going to show you these. And I don't know if you've had a need for these. If you ever need a timer, and this right here is perfect for me because I got about 1 minute left before 11, and this right here is actually, whoops, got upside down. Just want to see what it's called, Viz Timer. And let me reset it. And then you can set this for like 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. I was telling my board of directors, one of the things I'm going to do from now on is when people start talking, I'm going to have this up. And then so you just hit it and you'll notice how it starts going away. And so if you have a task or something that, for example, my son, I have a 15-year-old, and he drives me crazy in the morning trying to get ready. And so I need to do this with him. I need to put like 15 minutes on here for him just to get dressed, because I think a person can put their clothes on in 15 minutes. And so it's actually going around, and you can actually see how much time you have left as a visual representation. And right now I have about half, and so just let it go down a little bit more. This is a free app.
Which one's that?
Viz Timer, VISTIMER. There's all kinds of timers apps on there. And then let's let it go down. It also gives you a little bit of alarm, and it should start giving you some sort of indication, I believe, here. Or it might not. I mean, I'll have that set up for that. And see how it puts finished. You can actually have it do an alarm like that. I know I have one other thing I want to show you. And this right here is actually a free app. Need internet access, and since I don't have it, I just want to tell you about it. It's called Remember the Milk, and it's actually in there as well. Is my wife and I use this because actually you go on a website and create an account for this, and so this right here is actually a shopping list.
Is it Remember the Milk or Out of Milk?
No, it's called Remember the Milk.
Oh, okay. You have that's for iPad.
Yeah.
The Android version keeps crashing and it's
and so this right here is Remember the Milk. And so what's really, really good is my wife and I use this. And so like she'll make up the shopping list, but I do the shopping on Sunday. And so I go in there on my iPhone when I'm walking around, and I have this open, and so I'm actually able to go through it as I buy the stuff. And you also are able to do some menu planning with this as well. So any questions? Since we got fish, I went through this really fast. And so any questions?
11:15 is our drop dead time.
Okay, 11:15 is our drop dead time, so no questions? Oh, you got to ask me a question. Well, let me go around since I do have some time. My favorite app, let me show you my favorite app, is, yes, I am an iPhone user, or I am an iPad iPhone user. And one of the things that is really hard is being a supervisor of people, is being able to keep track of when you ask the person to do something and to follow up with them. And so one of the things that I do is with my email on my computer is I take the emails that I send people, and if I want to follow up on that email, I take it down into my to-do list or my reminders, and I put it in there, and I usually give people like 2 to 3 days. However, one of the things that was really bad is I hated the reminder program on here. But what I did here is this right here is called Task Do, or hold on, let me see. Task X, TASKSEX. And what it does, and I just want to show you this real fast, it actually has my employees' names in here, and then the number of tasks that I need to follow up with them. And so I absolutely, this is one of the things that is so nice. And so like if I want to go in there, like Tim's here right now.
I probably need to see that. I'm sorry.
Look at this. Tim has two things that I asked him to do.
Uh-oh.
You know, that probably I need to follow up on. Task X, EX, TASKSEX, and it is $4.99.
And then you just click on their name.
Yep, you click on their name, and I'm gonna go back up here on the screen.
Can I ask, I'm sorry, I was interrupting.
Oh, that's
I
okay.
can ask later.
Let me remind Tim what I'm following up on.
All right.
Tim, have you, and I know that I've gotten an email for this week. The Sheridan, have you been down to the Sheridan?
Good with you, but yes.
Yes. And see, let's see, the other thing here is how about Sue? Sue with the our telephone bill. See, and so when I need, like when this goes off, I can, you know, I've asked him to do these, and odds are most of the time my staff is really good, and they said completed, or I already know that it's completed, and I can just mark it off. And so, any questions?
I did have a question back to that
Pro Loco to go.
to go. Do you know if that is can be used for Android users?
No, there's not an Android option for that right now.
Okay.
In fact, they just released on January the 26th, they just released a Windows version of that.
Okay.
One of the things that what you have noticed that we are Apple based here a little bit. One of the things that we've noticed is some of the accessibility features are not transferable to the Chromebook right now. However, within the last 6 months, Google, and in particular, certain Chromebooks have just taken off with accessibility features. And so we actually have a Chromebook in our device. We actually have 2 of these. It's a Samsung Chromebook, and the vendor that we're using actually sent us these Chromebooks with actually 200 apps already on there. And so they're actually divided up into categories. We have one in our center here. We have one in our statewide device loan program, and we're actually just learning how to use those because they're the same apps. However, unfortunately, you know, because of the development kit, certain things are in different places. And so, but yeah, we are in the process of actually taking the dive into the Chromebooks. Any other questions? Comments, concerns? I would, if there's anything that, if you know of an app that you would like us to look at or see, please feel free. You can stop by. You have our information. Call me, email me, because one of the things that is my goal this year for FAAST is to really improve our handheld technology. And so I actually have 2 goals. Is one, to improve the handheld technology, and the second one is to really get back to a place where we know how to get all this stuff funded for you guys and to help you navigate through these funding streams. And so those are my 2 goals for this this calendar year. And actually, they're the 2 goals that we're working on for our state plan as well. So any questions? Ma'am?
Do you have an app that you would recommend for students to remember their homework, a good homework reminder?
There is. I'm glad you asked that. And let me tell you this, because I've just done most of the time back there. My son last year, I don't want to talk a lot about my son, but he just got his license too. he had some problems with remembering certain assignments. And there's actually a very nice calendar program called, this is in your, this is actually in your pamphlet as well. iStudies, ISTUDIEZ. And then I have the Pro edition here. And I'm just going to turn this on because I actually downloaded some stuff in here. You can actually see it actually has a class schedule and assignments. And I'm going to show it here for our viewers online. Then I'm going to take it around and you can see that I went here and put in like Spanish and lunch. And you can actually see the class schedule and then where you can enter assignments in right here on the right-hand side. And the other thing that's really nice about this is the notifications. You can set the notifications to actually show when the iPad is off. And then when you hit the home button, it'll show you the notifications that what you need to do. And again, this is iStudies Pro. And then there is a free version of this, but it may not have all of the assignments that you can list in there. You see how you can put the assignments in there for the class?
Yeah, absolutely.
My son just, one of the things, he would do homework and would not remember to turn it in. And so one of the things we actually had to put in here is actually his class schedule, and actually 5 minutes into his class schedule, make sure you turn your homework in. For some reason, he would do the homework, but he would get there. He's a social butterfly. I don't know where he gets that from. It must be my wife. However, he would get to school, start talking, and not turn his homework in. And that would just drive me crazy because I know he did it. And so there, but yes, there is a good software out there, an app out there for that. Any other questions? Again, we do have 6 regional demonstration centers. Please use us. We are a free of charge service. We are here for the state of Florida. And Tim in the back there is showing you where you can find the information. Tim/Vanna/McCann. And so I certainly thank you for coming. And please stop by our booth and please use our services.
Our booth is across from room 113. Thank you.
Thank you.